Hi guys, happy Thursday. This morning I talked to Mrs. Sony about working together and coming up with some lessons that we could work on together. So I thought it would be fun if we talked about the instrument families, and then whatever instrument family we talk about, she can teach you how to draw an instrument from that family. So you might have already seen her video teaching you how to draw a violin, and if you haven't, go check it out after you watch this one. Because I thought it would be a fun way for you to really learn the instrument that goes with the family of the orchestra. So, the instruments of the orchestra are divided into families, and they live in their own houses on a street. So, you live in your own house with your family, and I'm guessing you live on a street where you have some neighbors, right? So, just like you live in a house with your family and you live on a street that makes a neighborhood and you have neighbors, that's what the instruments of the orchestra do. So the instruments of the orchestra get divided up based on the sounds that they make, and that determines which house they live in. So the sounds of the woodwind instruments are made by blowing air into an instrument, and most of them are made out of They used to be made out of wood, and now some of them are made out of metal, but they used to all be made out of wood, and you would blow into the instrument to make the sound. The next family, the brass family, they are all made out of brass, and you blow into the instrument to make the sound. Then we have the percussion family, and most percussion instruments, you hit them or you shake them to make sound. And then finally, the family that we're going to learn about today is the string family. And the string family, you pluck or bow strings to make the sound. So today, we're going to learn about the string family. So I want you to think right now. Do you know one string instrument? Can you name one string instrument to someone at your house right now? I'll give you a second. All right, did you come up with one? Okay. So, we said all the families live in a house on a street, separated. So the first one we're gonna talk about is the string family. Now look at those. I know it's kind of got a glare on it, but look at all those instruments. Do they look kind of similar? Yes or no? Now, what thing do they all have? What thing in common do they all have? If you said they all have strings on them, you are right. All right, so we pair the strings into a family, and they all kind of look alike, right? And they all get played by bowing or plucking the strings. So the one that you see the most often is probably the guitar, and you either pluck the strings with your finger or with a pick. The string family is made up of different sized bowed instruments with steel, nylon, or gut strings. They are played by drawing a bow, a long stick with horsehair, stretched over it across the strings, or by plucking, striking, or strumming the strings. In addition to the violin, viola, cello, string bass, and harp, the string family includes non-orchestral instruments such as the guitar and the mandolin. So there's lots of different string instruments. The ones that we focus on a lot in the orchestra, there are 6 of them, which includes the harp, the violin, the cello, the string bass, the viola, and the guitar. Because there is classical guitar that is used once in a while in orchestra. But there are other ones, such as the banjo or the mandolin, that you don't really see in the orchestra very often, but they do exist and they live in that family. So the violin is the smallest of the string instruments, and it is probably about this big, and it makes the highest sounds. So it makes the high sounds up here. Then we have the viola, and the viola is the next one in size. So the violin's like this, the viola is a little bit bigger, and it makes a little bit lower sounds than the violin, but it's not super low, it still gets high notes. So we've got the violin up here, then the viola, then we have the cello. And you normally see people play the violin or the viola and their arm is out here. But for the cello, the person will sit down and the instrument is in front of them and they bow down here. And the cello makes lower sounds than the viola does. Then we have the string bass. And I know it's been a couple days since you've seen me, but Miss Hatch isn't very tall, right? And the string bass is like way taller than me. I had to play it once in college and I had to like bend backwards to be able to carry it. It's super big and it makes the low sounds. And to play the string bass, you stand and you play it. So I just wanted to throw in those tidbits about the string instruments as well. So the violin is high, then the viola plays just a little bit lower, then the cello plays a little bit lower than that, and then the string bass plays all of the really low notes. Okay. Let's see what it says over here. Living in a crowded house. To balance the louder and stronger sounds of the brass, percussion, and woodwind sections, the string section is the largest in the orchestra. So there are a lot of strings in the orchestra. There are more strings than any other instrument. It often includes over half the total number of musicians. So I know second graders have gone to see the Nutcracker. So in the Nutcracker, there were instruments down below all the dancers. That's where you heard the music coming from. And over half of those instruments were probably string instruments. So I hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit about the string family. I am going to, I have a guitar at home, but I don't know how to play it. I'm gonna try to learn while we're off school, but I don't have any of the other string instruments at home. I have some of the other instruments that we're gonna talk about later on, and I will show you them myself. But since I don't play any string instruments, I'm gonna link some videos beneath mine in the description section so your parents can show you what they sound like, what they look like. I might put a video of a whole orchestra so you can see what the whole orchestra, the whole neighborhood of instruments looks like. And then I will show you just the string family playing together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm trying not to make them super long, but still informative. So enjoy watching the videos that I'm gonna tag below and let me know what you learned. And I can't wait to see your drawings of the violin. I'm super excited to do my own drawing, and I will post my drawing somewhere so you guys can all see how Miss Hatch did, because I'm not the art teacher. I'm the music teacher, but I really like following along to Miss Soni's drawings. So have a good rest of your Thursday, guys. See you soon.